obviously this is the best team and best Lamar that we have seen, and M&T Bank is going to show up, and we cannot wait for that to be on display. Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs have seemingly found it. They're in the middle of a dynastic run. Could the Ravens start their own dynasty? Lamar Jackson was actually asked today a hilarious question about, hey, Lamar, what do you like about competing against Patrick Mahomes? And here was his answer.
I don't like competing against him at all. But yeah, I mean, he's a great quarterback. Definitely a Hall of Famer. It's not even it's a no-brainer. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. But it's just, I believe it's just two greats, up-and-coming greats, just going toe-to-toe. You know, like a heavyweight fight. Heavyweight matchup. That's just what I see.
I love it. Do you see it the same way? Yeah. And I think obviously there's 4 teams left, so everybody's great. But I think we got it right too with the 4 teams we have this year.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, it is 2 phenomenal quarterbacks. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, 6 AFC championships in 6 years as a starter is mind-blowing. I don't think that we give enough credit or we understand how incredible and how special that is and how lucky we are to get to see this guy play at such a high level for a long time. And I think it's also partially because he has that mentality. He has that killer mentality. He has that, like the clock, whatever it was, the thing that he posted on Instagram. Why am I blanking? The thing about the clock.
Good luck.
Good luck. That's what it was. Sorry. Good luck. Where they were like, saying good luck. And then he remembers that. He has all those things. It's a little bit similar to Tom and what he had. So, but Lamar is playing at an unbelievable level. The Ravens obviously took it to the Texans this past weekend. They played extremely well. They're so well-rounded, man. Their defense is so strong. They can do so much. On offense, they can run the ball when they have to. Lamar can run if he needs to. He can throw when he has to. Like, it's just so difficult to stop that team, and they just look so good. It's going to be a really, really good matchup, and I'm really looking forward to Sunday.
The Colts were able to beat the Ravens, obviously, but throughout the year, this Ravens team, whenever you're watching, and I've said this a few times because it's kind of an enigma almost. You just look at the score, and they're up 2 scores already, and it's over. And it didn't really feel like it. It just felt like, there's a 3 and out, this happened, and then it's over with the way that offense and way that defense plays. They smother people on the defensive side. And Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen, a lot of mic'd up stuff's coming out. They like hitting people. They enjoy violence. Kyle Van Noy said it's not up on a wall or anything, but we like violent football.
I mean,
it's very obvious.
The fact that Roquan ended up there, and obviously they got Patrick Queen, like the linebackers that they have there are so strong. And the fact that Roquan just kind of got out of Chicago and got put into this situation on one of the best and helped make it even better than it already was up there, like he's a special player, man. It's a lot of fun to watch him play in that defense. And my former D-line coach, Anthony Weaver, is up there, and he helps coordinate all the pass rush, and those guys are crushing it with sacks and everything. So it's so much fun to see them. JD's obviously up there, Clowney, making plays. Van Noy comes off the couch and is just dominating. So they got a really special squad up there. The bank is a great place to play. I've played playoff games there, and it's a phenomenal atmosphere. So I'm looking forward to getting back there and seeing that atmosphere again because it's a really cool place, and they do a good job.
That's kind of been our show's thing for the last 5-6 weeks, as it looked like they were going to have home field advantage. It's like, I don't think the national media truly understands what M&T Bank Stadium is like. It is very loud, especially when any team's playing good. Obviously, their fans are going to be louder.
Sure.
They're going to be more invested. That's just not. That's not bandwagon. That's just people have lives, and why am I going to invest as much time as I normally do in a bad team as opposed to a good team? People are going to be more likely to invest that in a lot of these cities and places. But when that team is playing, that place is bananas. 5 false starts for your Houston Texans team, who I think had a phenomenal run this year. Obviously, young team.
Say you were the D-line coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. What's your rush plan for? What do you tell your guys? Hey, how are we rushing Lamar Jackson? What can we absolutely not let happen?
Number one thing with Lamar Jackson is obviously lanes. So you can't get too far up the field. You can't fly past him to create big lanes in the B gap. And you also don't want to rush too shallow, so then you create outside rush lanes where he can get outside of the pocket. But I would say first and foremost is not giving up those big gaps up the middle like you see right here, especially if you're in a cover 5, which is man under 2 deep. Which means that those guys are going to be running with their backs turned to Lamar, and they're not going to be able to see him scramble, and he's going to have 30 yards like that. That's what a coach always tells you. If we're in man coverage, we are basically putting 100% of the onus on the defensive line to contain the quarterback. And that's where, as a defensive lineman, you start rushing and you see him get loose. that is where you are just in pure panic mode because nobody's coming to help. I got to chase him. And newsflash, I am nowhere near as fast as Lamar Jackson, so we are screwed. So it's those lanes up the middle. So I would tell my guys, we got a guy, we got the two pushers in the middle. You can't get pushed wide like they did right here. This was clearly a design draw, and it was executed extremely well. And then just the outside guys can't rush past the passer. The problem with that is, as a defensive lineman and as a coach, you're basically kind of telling your pass rushers to not do what they do best, and that's play free and play loose and go get the quarterback. So it's a very fine line in balancing your D-line and saying, go do what you do best, but at the same time, rein it in a little bit. It's a hard place to be, and that's what Lamar does to you.
A lot more discipline. Obviously, it's different playing against Lamar than anybody else. I assume it was similar whenever Michael Vick was playing back in the day. But the first time we played Lamar and they had a DB playing quarterback, I was like, well, feels like we're probably in a bad spot. Like, we just want to get a look for what it could be. And obviously, just punt returner taking it to the house every time. It's like, oh, yeah, and also he can throw it 65, 70 yards. It's a bananas weapon.
It's impossible because, like, all your defenses basically are lined up to handle 10 people because you don't worry about, like, the quarterback he might throw it or hand it off, but he's not going to do much. Now you have to reconfigure all your defenses to count for that 11th person in any run play and any pass play. It's fascinating. I talked to TJ about it, obviously, because that AFC North, those guys all beat up on each other. And, like, the Steelers beat them twice this year, obviously the second time without most of their starters. But, you start to figure it out, okay, why do these teams have success, but literally no one else can? And all those reps and all those things over the years just add up, and they start to have a little bit better feel. And
what's his record against the NFC? It's like 30-1 or something.
Yeah, it's something absurd.
Like 21-1 maybe? Something like that.
I thought it was so hard.
I thought it was 21-0.
Who'd he lose to?
Yeah, I didn't remember the loss.
He lost to.
It's hard to prepare if you haven't played against it. The AFC North, like Steelers know, like Tomlin is saying the same message against Lamar. Hey, just like we experienced last week, last year, we got to do this. Yeah. Whenever you're playing for the first time, you have 6 days to prepare for something that it takes years to maybe develop the discipline. Lamar Jackson is 20-3 against the NFC in his career.
Jeez.
Giants last year.
Tough to prepare for. Wink Martindale said, I was at Baltimore. Here's what we need to do against Lamar.